The new 10-year rule for inheriting a retirement account can be extremely confusing. Introduces new language that you need to understand in order to plan appropriately for the next generation and for prior generations. I'll explain that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. The Secure Act 1.0 passed late 2019, took effect in 2020. Big tax law changes, and we've had a ton of tax law changes really ever since then as well. But one of the main changes that was within the Secure Act 1.0 had to do with the rules around managing or withdrawals from inheriting a retirement account. These rules were so confusing that it took the IRS 3 years to come out with their interpretation of the rule. Even though the law was passed back in late 2019, it took the IRS 3 years to come up with their interpretation, and then yet another year to say, okay, no, guys, this is really how it's going to work. And that rule finally is just starting to take effect this year, starting in 2025. You know the tax law is complicated when it takes 5 years to implement a change that was passed long ago. Whether you are a parent doing estate planning for your own finances and just thinking through how would these assets pass if something happened to you, or if you're a child and you've got aging parents and you're thinking, all right, what will the rules be if I inherit some dollars from my folks? You need to understand the complexity of these new rules. And a lot of that comes down with just understanding some of the terminology, the classifications of beneficiaries. Now, I recently did a video about a very, very confusing rule related to eligible designated beneficiaries of a Roth IRA, so make sure you check that out. But I just want to warn you again, like I did in that video, there's going to be some jargon here. We try to take the really complicated parts of the financial world and break it down, make it really easy to understand and simple for you to apply in your financial life, take your next wise step. But we do need to enter that jargon zone so you understand the terminology and you can know how these rules work. So when it comes to beneficiaries for retirement accounts, this would be IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, those sorts of things. Your beneficiary, you could list a whole different group, like you could list, spouse, kids, you could list other family members, you could list charities, you could not list anyone. And regardless of that, they're going to be grouped into three. There's three different classifications of beneficiaries, and that's what you need to understand to plan appropriately ahead. And I'm going to explain each of those right now. The first classification of a beneficiary is the non-designated beneficiary. A non-designated beneficiary is not a person. This is not a person. And this could either be a trust that is not a pass-through, see-through, conduit trust, something, a non-eligible trust, okay? It could be a charity, or you could just have not listed anyone. And you don't want to do that, by the way. There are different rules for these non-designated beneficiaries. So if you don't list anyone, it would go through your estate. But this classification is not a person. It's not a see-through trust. It's a charity, or it's an estate. Well, the rules are different if you're a non-designated beneficiary. And those rules depend. Did the original IRA owner or original account owner, had they already passed their required beginning date? Were they already taking required minimum distributions? And boy, guys, there is a unique rule regarding that first year. Technically, your required beginning date isn't until April 1st of the year following the year you turn age 73. Wildly complicated. But if the individual, the original account owner, hadn't yet reached their required beginning date, then the account must be withdrawn by the end of the 5th year after that. There's no annual required distributions, but you've got 5 years. Basically, there's a 5-year rule in that instance. If the original account owner had already reached their required beginning date, this is wild, guys, then a non-designated beneficiary can actually withdraw a required minimum amount, but stretch it over their lifetime and not be subject to the new 10-year rule. Guys, this is wildly confusing. Even despite this flexibility, I still, if you intend to leave your Roth IRA, your 401k to your heirs, to specific people, list them and avoid this non-designated beneficiary classification. The other two classifications are people, okay? And this second one that we're going to hit is a non-eligible designated beneficiary. So this is someone that is not eligible. I'll explain who the eligible beneficiaries are in a moment. But if you are considered not eligible, non-eligible designated beneficiary, then the 10-year rule applies. And the 10-year rule means that you've got to empty that account, that tax sheltered account that you inherited. You have to empty it by the end of the 10th year after death. If that original account owner had already passed their required beginning date, then you have to do annual required minimum distributions as well, and then still have the entire account emptied within 10 years. Those required distributions are based on your life expectancy, so just doing those required minimums will not have that account emptied within 10 years, so you'll need to do more than that or plan for lump sum distributions, doing tax planning with your CFP. But that's if you're not a non-eligible designated beneficiary that for where the account owner has already reached their required beginning date. If they haven't yet reached their required beginning date, you've just got 10 years to empty the account. There is no required minimum distribution each year. And that leads us to the third classification of beneficiaries under the new Secure Act 1.0 rules, and that is an eligible designated beneficiary. Designated, again, that it's a person, but eligible. Eligible for what? Still allowed to stretch. The 10-year rule doesn't apply to this category, and there's a different rule instead. Many of them can still stretch their withdrawals from that account over their lifetime. They could take out all of it, they could take out it in big chunks, but if they just wanted to take out a little bit, they could withdraw a required minimum distribution based on their own life expectancy each year and essentially stretch that account out over their lifetime. What are these eligible individuals? What qualifies them? Well, there's 4 categories, technically 5, but I lumped 2 of them together. One is a surviving spouse, and surviving spouse could actually turn the IRA, turn the account into their own, or they could make it an inherited account and they could stretch it out over their lifetime and could even switch and change their mind actually. So that's surviving spouse is one. A minor child is another. Minor child has a unique rule as well. If they're younger than the age of 21, they have up until age 21, and then the 10-year rule starts. Okay, so once they turn 21, the 10-year rule starts after that. Have the account emptied by the end of when they're 31. Okay, chronically ill or disabled. I'm going to lump those 2 together, and there's strict definitions for those. Those are also eligible. And then the 4th category, the last category, is an individual beneficiary who's listed who is less than 10 years younger than the original account owner. So think a sibling, something like that. So yeah, it's jargon, it's deep, it's complicated, but the rules are very different. And there's a lot of planning implications, both if you're the account owner and thinking about passing on your assets to the next generation, or if you potentially stand in line to receive and inherit some dollars. There are different rules depending on which classification, depending on how the beneficiary is set up. You need to be planning ahead. These could have big tax planning implications, retirement planning implications, cash flow implications. Work with your certified financial planner on all 6 areas of your financial life so that you can plan ahead with these confusing rules appropriately. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go on and take your next wise step in your financial life.